Hey guys, what's up? Patch notes came today, and here are my opinions about the certain nerfs and buffs they did to standard. So let's get right on to it. I read this a while ago, but I'm gonna say what I feel like real time, so it'll be more genuine that way. And here we go. Wild Pone Null. So the old one was, well, we know the old one from another class, and now it's become non-rogue classes to discount Null. I think this is good because Null has been very problematic. And now you won't see it on turn 2, you won't see it on turn 3, probably you'd see it on turn 4. You could actually see it on turn 2, but yeah, it's really slow and it's not 0 to cast. So when you see it early, it's probably 2 or 3 to cast. And I think that's healthier because cheating out 3/5s very early in the game is such a problem. And that's what I feel made Rogue tier 1. And next we have Sinzone Graveyard. I mean, Miracle Rogue is still tier 1, but now you remove the stealth. I think this is okay. I wish they could have also adjusted the mana to 4. But now at least you could interact with it. If you're a board-based deck, it's still hard. Like, how could small minions deal with like an 8/8 or a 9/9? But at least if you're playing Priest or some sort of control like Warrior, there's a way to actually use your spells to kill the huge ghost because they're not stealth. So yeah, I think this is healthier. So Rogue, I believe, would still be tier 1. They'll just be a bit slower, but that's what we needed, in my opinion. A little too good for too long, I agree. Next we have Final Showdown. Draw 6 cards in one turn. So they adjusted the first part of the quest. I think that's the only thing. And I think that's good. I mean, it has become problematic, especially in High Legend, when you see you can't really interact with this. They could draw very consistently, and they could discount very consistently. Now, I've heard that the argument that this could be a buff, but drawing 6, I think, is hard in one turn. You would not typically be able to do this in your early turns. You'd need a bunch of card draw cards to do this specifically, and I think this is good. I think it would force others to make, other demon hunter archetypes. And I think this would be healthier for the game as well. Sinful Brand. Okay, brand an enemy minion. It is now 2 to cast. So now that is 2 cost, I think also it's healthier for the game. I didn't see it as such a problem card, but except when you have that 4 drop that deals 4 damage and summons the rush guys, if you're running big minions, you wouldn't survive against double that and double Sinful Brand. So you would most likely be dead. That's 32 damage, I believe. So, and you can't do that anymore because this is now 2 to cast, even if you had a coin. So I think this is quite healthier. It didn't just seem too popular for me. So I would agree with the Final Showdown more, but with Sinful Brand, it's okay. I'm neutral about it. It's okay. And next we have Shockpitter, now at 4 mana. I still think it's going to be playable. However, you can't do double Shockpitter and Brand unless you had a coin or you discount this. So you are slower, but it's still possible. Maybe you could cut down on the weapons, be more of a beast build rather than overcommitting on a weapon build, and Hunter would still be tier 1. That's just my opinion. I think that's going to be the case, at least in the next few days when the meta settles. When the meta settles, I think Hunter will still be in a good spot. Okay, Glacial Advance. Your next spell discern costs 1 instead of 2. I think that's okay. Every time you try to slow down an OTK deck, it's good. And you slow this down a little bit, but technically Frost DK is not really OTK like one turn, but in one turn you could deal tons of damage. So if the opponent's at low health, you could technically OTK. But yeah, I think this is okay. It helps slow down Frost DK a bit, and maybe we could explore Blood or Undead. Undead is very unpopular, or the most unpopular in terms of DK decks. So let's see. And Asalor, so it becomes Manthur's 5, becomes Manthur's 8 on the next one, and deals 7 instead of 8, dealing 14. I think these nerfs are okay. I just don't probably agree with the first part. I think Manthur's 4 was a sweet spot for dealing 2 damage. The gain armor was fine as well, but yeah, this time you can't count this as an early removal anymore at turn 5. But the nerfs are okay. I think dealing 14 instead of 16 is okay. I think Armored Druid could still abuse this because of Anubricon and Bran. But hey, at least it's slowed down. So I don't think people would totally cut Asalar from the deck. It's a really good card, but let's see in the next few days. And now the buffs. Battlefield Necromancer, 1-3 instead of 1-2. Okay, maybe we could explore Undead now, like I said earlier. And we have Bone Guard Commander, a Blood DK card. Again, 1-3s instead of 1-2s. It's 8 to cast though, but if the meta's slower, I guess you could reach to 8 mana and have these annoying 1-3s as taunt. So who knows? Next we have Unholy Frenzy from 3 to 2 mana. Choose an enemy or okay. Yeah, that's pretty good removal. I guess Undead is really board based. So if you have a ton of minions on board, you want to kill a big guy, then they just spring to life again. This actually reads as 2 to cast, choose an any minion and destroy it. If we're being a bit optimistic. We have Wither. It's what's this card? I think this is a Druid card. Choose a minion. Each friendly undead steals 1 attack and health from it. I do not memorize the undead cards, neutral and or Druid, so I'm not sure how good this would be, but Priest has this card for free, so I'm not really sure. You have Bone Caller from 2-4 to 2-5 health. Okay, more defense for Priest. Priest is a bit low in terms of win rate and standard right now, so I guess buffing anything might be good for it. Haunting Nightmare, same thing, from 3-3 to 4-3 for bow stats. And the Soldier, yeah, I don't see how it's super impactful, but if it's gonna make Priest players brew more and probably win more, then why not? Next we have High Cultist Basilisk from 5 mana to 4. I guess Undead archetype, they're trying to force this, or at least let people brainstorm with this archetype, and who knows, it might be good. I think there's a possibility with all the buffs that have been here. Next we have Darkan Drathier from 8 to 6 mana. This is a pretty good effect. I guess if the meta slowed down, you could go control and face mid-range decks and win with your control. And this is a good control tool, dealing 6 to the enemy and healing yourself for the damage. Good stats too for the cost. Next we have Infantry Reanimator. These are eco-friendly undead. Again, they're probably pushing undead, and I'd like to see that happen too, so that the meta becomes a bit different. Next we have Vengeful Walloper from Demon Hunter. Cost 1 less for each outcast card you play. Yeah, I think exploring an outcast archetype would be interesting and good flavor for Demon Hunter. Next, we have Energy Shaper from Mage. Transform all spells. So they made this a turn earlier for the same effect. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? For the same cost, it's a good minion, good stats, 3/4, and if you high roll for the same cost for all your spells actually, then who knows? This might be a good card. Maybe in a control shell, not really in big spells though. Next, we have Vast Wisdom from 3 mana to 2. Discover 2 spells. It costs 3 or less. Swap their costs. Yeah, who knows? Another good archetype might spring out, but mostly in control shell, not in existing archetypes like Ping Mage or Big Spell Mage. Probably a totally new one. People could actually tinker with this new buff. Time Warden. Okay, Paladin. Yeah, Paladin's in an okay spot with pure Paladin, but not the greatest. Maybe if you could explore dragons, it might be worth your while if you have this card 1 mana, 1 turn earlier. And for Warrior, okay. They made this a taunt. It didn't have taunt before, and they increased the stat line. Cast a copy. It's very random. It's also luck dependent, but it's interesting. Might give it a shot. I'm not discounting it now. I'll go for any buffs for Warrior with its state at the moment. Disruptive Spellbreaker, increasing the stat line. This is an annoying card actually. Control Warrior's been around, but it's not that great. And maybe this gets more annoying. You could survive more than 1 turn with this, and your opponent actually discards useful spells. Last Stand, okay, from 4 mana to 1 mana, double its stats, mana tier 7. I think it's okay. I was never a fan of Taunt Warrior ever, so I can't really comment on this. My answer would be biased. I don't think I'll play this card. And then we have Nelly. So it's back to 2 less instead of cost 1. Well, Smite's still in the game. Smite will cost 5 if you discover it, but it won't be as broken as before, so I think this should be okay. Problem is, Nelly's 7 to cast. It's not like, I don't know. I'm still not a believer that Warrior will make it, at least in the next few days. And here's another one for Warrior, from 410 to 510, Remornia Living Blade. Who knows? But Warrior's still looking grim for me, in my opinion. So those are the balance changes for standard, buffs, and nerfs. Tell me guys what you think. These are just my opinions. Some of you might agree, some of you might vehemently disagree. But tell me in the comments, and I'll make some decks, and I'll see you guys again next time.